Passing away at the peak of your career is bad enough, but waking up in the middle of a war between gods is why worse. This is Lee Tae-ho, the Invincible MVP, a total beast at gaming who, right in the middle of the World Championship finals, just straight up keels over. Game over, not a chance. A Valkyrie appears and summons him to Valhalla, the paradise for warriors. There's just one tiny problem: she thinks he's an actual legendary soldier. Now, having never held a sword in his life, he gets tossed in the middle of a battle against gigantic werewolves. Which begs the question, if you've already passed on, what happens if you get taken out again? But that's when he discovers something amazing. What if all the achievements and powers from his game character could become real in this new world? Stick around, because today we're gonna follow the epic story how a pro gamer became the greatest warrior in Valhalla. Alright, listen up, because this time our story kicks off a little differently. We're watching the finals of a super famous gaming tournament. In the arena, the announcer shouts that the teams are taking the stage. And with them comes the MVP of the 6th, 7th, and 8th World Championships, a total beast. But hold up, the scene suddenly shifts, and now we see our MC in the middle of a bunch of warriors. Confused, the kid introduces himself as Lee Tae-ho. That bearded dude in the back thinks our MC's name is pretty weird, even cracking a joke like Lee Ta-ho. Sounds more like he fell low. At that moment, the bearded guy and the long-haired guy stare each other down with some serious tension in the air. The bearded dude then points and says that was the unlucky guy who sent him packing, making the long-haired guy laugh and ask if it was really him. Whoa, things are heating up. Looks like these two are about to throw down. The funny thing is, our MC is stuck in the middle of all this, with absolutely no clue what's going on. What is this mess? Weren't they mortal enemies just a second ago? From the looks of it, they're two different tribes that were at war. Long Hair then tells Beardy that he should be thanking him, since he's only here because of him. The bearded guy agrees, admitting it was a good fight. But if he's here too, that means he also kicked the bucket. Did he bite the dust right after? Long Hair explains that, well, after that fight, he was finished off by a kid with 5 braids in her hair. The kiddo pierced his stomach while screaming, "Dad." The bearded guy instantly recognizes it was Jorn, his son, who avenged his old man. Long Hair praises him, saying he raised the boy well, and that he'll become a great warrior. In fact, he already is. Now the MC is completely lost. Weren't these guys enemies? And how in the world did he even get here? Alright, let's rewind the tape a bit to figure out what went down. When the story started, we were in the middle of a championship. And yeah, our MC was there, playing his heart out and being the best, as usual. That's when, out of nowhere, he dropped like a sack of potatoes. The kid then realizes that at that moment, he cashed in his chips. Could this all just be a dream? And he was just taking a really deep nap. A woman in impressive armor starts saying that the boy's a champion who has won dozens of duels. This gets all the warriors around him totally hyped up. Now everyone wants a one-on-one to test their strength against the MC. The kid, who is clearly not a real warrior, just stands there awkwardly. What's he gonna do now? Actually, this is all that lady's fault over there, the one giving a proud little thumbs up. Going back in time once more, we see that the MC really had passed out. The second he fell, his soul just popped right out of his body. That's when a massive flash of light appeared right in front of him. And this mysterious woman showed up out of thin air. She said that those who lose their lives at the end of a glorious battle possess the true soul of a warrior. Our MC was a bit skeptical, like, I was taken out, for real. This Valkyrie-type character then invites the boy to go with her. But our MC is no fool and immediately asks, "Go where, lady?" This whole "go" thing is way too vague. He wants details so he doesn't end up in a bad place. The Valkyrie, however, just holds out her hand to him. As soon as the kid touches her hand, he's pulled through a rainbow-colored portal. It's at this moment that she reveals they're going to Valhalla. As much as the boy doesn't understand a thing, the only thing left for him is to accept his fate. Back in the present, Tae-ho figures out that Valhalla is the afterlife from Norse mythology, and from what he's learned in games, you can only get there if you bite the dust like a true warrior. So, did this Valkyrie mistake him for a great warrior? Judging by her proud face, it seems that's exactly what happened. The boy sheepishly tries to explain that he's not a real warrior, but a professional video game player. The Valkyrie asks if video games involve battles and duels, but the MC says no. He just asks her to take him back, but the Valkyrie is already paying attention to something else. A horn was blown in the distance. Right away, the Valkyrie yells that an enemy attack has begun and that everyone must prepare for battle. The warriors, who have already been sent packing once, get super excited about the news. Except for our MC, who thinks this is all completely insane. Valhalla soldiers march to the front lines. They're facing some kind of werewolf tribe. With that, the battle between the two races begins for real. It's a total shoving match, a free-for-all pure chaos. But right in the middle of this whole mess, there's our MC. He even got a sword, but since he's never held one in his life, he has no idea what to do. Since he got here after already checking out, what happens if he gets done in again? A feisty wolf lunges at the boy without a second thought. In that instant, a buff old guy appears and yells for him to get down. As soon as the boy ducks, the old timer lands a solid punch on the wolf. And the little wolf goes flying, probably thinking it just learned how to fly. The old guy then asks the MC if he doesn't know the sagas. But he asks it with this psycho look on his face that, honestly, would scare anyone. The MC is so spooked he can barely answer. The warrior asks if he's a stutterer or something. Taiho replies that no, he doesn't stutter, and he also doesn't know anything about sagas. The warrior explains that sagas are their stories. Coming to Valhalla means you had great achievements and were recognized in life. Here, your achievements become your strength. The more famous they are, the stronger you become. The MC starts to process this information. His achievements, well, if you think about it, he doesn't have many. Unfortunately, his routine was just eating and gaming, but his character in the game was a whole different story. That's when he gets a brilliant idea. If he can use his character's achievements, this is going to be a completely different ball game. The moment he thinks this, a bolt of lightning starts to surround him. Reaching his hand forward, some glowing letters start to appear. The MC doesn't get it, but something is happening. The old warrior notices and says that, it seems, he does have a saga. He can see the luminous letters, can't he? The MC confirms. He doesn't recognize the writing, but somehow he can read it, like he's using an image translator. In front of him, the system appears, Saga of the Immortal Warrior. The synchronization rate with Costed, his character, is at 1%. Just from connecting a tiny bit with Costed, our nerdy dude's posture has completely changed. He reflects that the title, Immortal Warrior, belongs to Costed, but if he can use that power, he'll be the strongest guy in this world. Seeing that the MC is completely distracted, the old man yells for him to look ahead. See, man, can you see another big wolf just showed up? And the beast is ready to bring down a massive hammer. The kid manages to dive and dodge, but ends up losing his sword in the process. He goes tumbling, rolling over and over. But, by the skin of his teeth, he manages to land on his feet. The boy wonders if Costed's power was really this weak. No, definitely not. Costed would defeat this guy with a single finger. There's something wrong with this saga that he's just not getting. Taiho tries to adjust his glasses to see if he can get a better look. There's a tiny little letter down there that he can't read at all. This makes him super annoyed, wondering if it's some kind of insurance contract with font this tiny. You crappy system, make it bigger, he thinks. The old warrior says he's leaving, as his help only went so far. That isn't the end of his saga, so the boy must continue building his own story. By the way, he introduces himself as Bjorn Ironside. Man, I miss watching Vikings. Bjorn says that Taiho needs to survive so they can meet again. Now, face to face with the wolf. The MC finally understood that he has 1% of Costed's power. Rushing to get his sword back, he thinks that even this 1% is more than enough. Costed was the superhuman who faced hundreds of soldiers alone, so he with 1% of that power could definitely grab the sword. Now just imagine, the legend of Costed and the MC together. Clearly the combination is perfect, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. The feisty wolf swings its axe, clearing everything in its path. Lucky for the kid, he managed to dodge by a hair's breadth again. In the game, Costed would charge forward without hesitation. He was like a storm sweeping away enemies as if they were nothing. With this image in mind, the MC simply copies the move and manages to take the wolf's head off. This is his first Sagaya, Warrior's Rush. It's fast and relentless like a storm. Okay, fine, the MC finished the attack, but now he can't stop running. And he tumbles and tumbles and tumbles again, stopping right in the middle of several wolves. At least now he understands that remembering an achievement adds a new saga, and this ability is probably a speed boost. With it, it'll surely be enough for him to survive for now. In the next scene, we're already in the great halls of Valhalla. As mugs of mead are served, the warriors toast, shouting, "Skull." Long hair smiles at the bearded guy, saying he survived. The bearded one replies that, of course, that was just a warm-up. While everyone is celebrating, our MC is over there trying to eat, but the meat is tough as shoe leather. He's outraged, wondering if this is really the evening's feast. They only serve alcohol and meat, and the meat isn't even that good. He's only eating and drinking because he's starving. Bjorn shows up again, saying that if he wants better food, he needs to raise his class as a warrior. This is the feast for the lowest class, where the newbies gather. That's why the food is kinda crummy. Taiho asks Bjorn if he's also in the lowest class, but smiling, Bjorn says no, explaining he just stopped by to check on the MC. The kid says he gets it and thanks Bjorn profusely, because thanks to him, he survived. If he hadn't told him about the saga, the MC would have been toast a long time ago. Thinking about it, he asks what happens if they get finished off here too. Bjorn replies that the defeated souls are transferred to the Steel Warriors, creatures that feel no pain or hunger and can fight forever. Cool, right? The MC panics. To him, that sounds more like a steel coffin than a warrior. With absolute certainty, he cannot be defeated here. Bjorn then announces that their affiliations will soon be determined. The MC doesn't quite get this whole affiliation thing, but Bjorn tells him to pay attention because it's about to start. In a higher area of the hall, a Valkyrie gets all the warriors' attention, saying she watched their deeds today. Now, she will announce which legion each of them belongs to. Taiho then asks the old guy if that's really a Valkyrie, and Bjorn confirms, explaining that she's Odin's daughter Ragnleif, a pure-blooded noble. Ragnleif tells all the soldiers to look inside their mugs, as the name of the one they must follow will be revealed there. Bjorn explains that they all belong to a legion of the gods of Asgard, and as soon as the MC gets one, he'll receive even more power. Taiho reflects that the only gods he knows are Odin and Thor, so he hopes to join one of their legions. Please, Odin or Thor, help me out, he thinks. In the next scene, there's our boy with a Valkyrie. We don't know which Valkyrie this is, but our guy seems pretty down. He thinks, if they call this a legion of the gods, what kind of legion is this with only him in the boat? The Valkyrie tells the kid not to worry, because their legion has a very strong point. Curious, the MC asks what it is, and she replies that nobody from the top complains about the people at the bottom, and nobody from the bottom causes trouble for the people at the top. The MC gets it right away, she just used other words to say the legion is completely empty. Flashing back a bit to the Legion of Idun, we see the MC's mug glowing. I messed up before, it wasn't about looking inside your body, it was inside the mug. My bad. That's where the MC would see his legion. Everyone is cheering with joy, some went to Freya's legion, others to Thor, others to Odin. But our MC, he got this Idun, person. The kid gets a little frustrated, because he's never heard that name before. From the look on Bjorn's face, it really wasn't a good pick. He just wishes the MC good luck. In the next scene, a Valkyrie calls for the new members of Odin's legion. Each Valkyrie is a subordinate to a god, so each one gathers their own group. With our MC, it wasn't much different. He was there, looking for Idun's group. That's when he finally finds it, but the scene doesn't meet his expectations at all. Well, since things are already bad, right? There's this Valkyrie sitting on the floor and cleaning her ear with her pinky. She sees the boy approaching and looks at him with a less than thrilled expression. Taeho asks if this is the Legion of Idun. The girl's eye lights up in an instant. She runs desperately towards him, realizing he's a newbie. It's been so long since they got a new member that she can hardly believe it. The MC gets a little flustered because she's way too close. The girl introduces herself. Her name is Heda. The scene cuts back to the present with the MC asking what they're fighting for. Why on earth is there a war going on? Summoning a power, Heda says she'll explain. Creating the image of a tree, she shows how the world works. They are in Asgard, near the center, and beyond it lies Muspelheim, from where giants, evil gods, and beasts are invading their world. The MC asks about the red part in the center. The Valkyrie explains that place is called Einherjar, the front line where they face the enemies who want to destroy everything. As it dawns on him, the boy wonders if this is the so-called Ragnarok. The girl confirms he's right. They are in the middle of Ragnarok, the battle for the fate of the world. Basically, the mission is to save the world. But honestly, she admits they're more trying to survive than anything else. Hearing this, the MC understands that, apparently, it's possible to travel between worlds. This means he might be able to return to his original world. Anyway, the Valkyrie announces that they've finally arrived at their destination. That is the temple of their goddess, and as her warriors, the MC must remember to always show respect. Even though we're not sure, for now, we'll keep calling her a Valkyrie. Taeho asks if they're really going to see the goddess there. Heda says not in person, only from a distance, as the goddess resides in a higher place. For now, he should stand at the altar and release the object she gave him. Basically, the MC received a golden apple. Alright then, what can you do? He follows Heda's instructions and drops the apple on the floor. As soon as he does, an immense light appears before him. Out of nowhere, the goddess appears. This is Idun, the goddess of life and youth, and she asks the MC to come closer. This goddess is known for being the one of youth, spring, and fertility. She is the guardian of a sacred orchard where the apples that keep the gods young and immortal are grown. The kid can't believe he's standing in front of a real goddess. Right away, he remembers he needs to show reverence and kneels. Pleased with the gesture, the goddess says that, like water flowing from top to bottom, she Idun grants him a blessing. This blessing will protect him from the danger of being taken out. It's Idun's blessing, the sigil of life. The MC begins to feel a strange and very powerful energy coursing through his body, a power of youth and vigor. He realizes the chronic pain in his back is gone, and that neck pain from gaming so much has also disappeared. Man, I'm so jealous! Where can I get a blessing like that? The little goddess says she eagerly awaits the MC's great deeds. That's when he finally wakes up, sprawled on the floor. Heda asks if he really received the blessing. The MC gets a bit embarrassed because Shimon, a beautiful woman like that so close to him, in this position, is enough to make anyone flustered. Heda explains that Idun is the goddess of eternal youth. On the battlefield, the MC might feel a lot of pain, but being finished off is nearly impossible with the blessing of life. And the best part is, as he evolves, the blessing gets stronger too. That's why their nickname is the Zombie Legion. Getting a bit more serious, he asks if, once they defeat the enemies, he'll be able to return home. Actually, he's thinking that question sounded pretty cool, right? The knight who wants to win the war to return home. Any girl would totally fall for that. The one thinking this, in fact, is Heda, imagining the MC is super noble. She found it really cute. She replies that yes, when the war is over and they are victorious, he can return home if he so wishes. The MC reflects that he'll definitely make it back then. Who would be crazy enough to want to stay in this place? I think half the people watching would. Holding Heda's hand, the MC notices how warm and soft her hand is. And to make matters worse, she's so close to him. The girl gets so close that the scene cuts to one of our MC's daydreams. In this scene, Heda is dressed as a housewife, and the MC is in a suit and tie. Out of nowhere, Heda calls him to eat, saying he got home from work right on time. Already seated at the table, she brings the food to his mouth. She tells him to say, the MC gets a little awkward. After all, even though she's Kiss' wife, in this dream, he's still shy. That's when he finally snaps back to reality. He's chewing on a piece of meat that feels more like the sole of a shoe. It's so tough. Smiling, Heda asks if he doesn't think the meat is too tough and it would be good for them to work hard to move up in class. If a warrior's class is high, their treatment improves, the food gets better, and even the resting area is more comfortable. With a big smile, she says they need to work hard together. Seeing that charming smile, our boy dives into another one of his daydreams, and even the system has to admit the kid's starting to lose his marbles. Some time passes and they're already outside. Heda summarizes that whenever he defeats an enemy, he'll receive something called a rune. The MC comments that now that she mentions it, he felt his body absorb some red energy in the previous battle. Heda concludes that he probably already has some runes. Tahoe figures that these runes can be invested in the skills he wants, like getting stronger. Heda confirms, saying he's a fast learner. The boy easily understands strength, stamina, and agility, but mana and willpower are still a mystery to him. She explains that mana strengthens magic and increases magic defense, while willpower improves concentration and mental defense. The MC then asks if sagas can be strengthened with mana. Heda says no, explaining that sagas are special. Increasing his stats doesn't make them stronger. In fact, they grow stronger with the knowledge of the story and the strength of his belief in it. There are cases where sagas evolve, like a story of catching a snake that can become a legend of slaying a dragon. It all depends on fame and gossip. Sagas of low-class warriors are usually simple. They revolve around becoming stronger or faster. Of course, that's already amazing, but it's not a true saga. Sagas are the materialization of legends, so their effects are very diverse. They can create weapons, transform things, or even summon an army. But let it be clear, the power to summon and develop a saga depends entirely on the MC's will. Our boy immediately thinks of the legend of the Dragon Knight, the legendary Costed. Whoa, hold on, something just happened. The bell at the goddess's base was rung. Heda asks if the MC heard that. That's an order to march to battle. Seeing the portal open in front of him, the boy thinks that was way too fast. Heda explains that by passing through that purple portal, he'll arrive at the waiting area where everyone gathers before the fight. After a while, our guy is all geared up. He even changed his clothes. He's trying his best not to think dirty thoughts. Let's just say Heda is very close, adjusting the armor on his body, so the situation is a bit tricky. The Valkyrie says the armor looks great on him, and the MC says he's heading out. Before he goes, she asks him to wait a moment. She asks, with her heart in her hands, for him not to get taken out. Hearing this makes the MC a little embarrassed, but he assures her she doesn't need to worry. After all, he carries a blessing now. It's extremely hard to get finished off. Our boy steps through the portal, leaving the Valkyrie behind. Arriving on the other side, let's just say Tahoe was a bit freaked out. The number of soldiers there was just insane. He even admits that, for there to be so many people, the battle must be very important. That's when a huge hand lands on his back and gives him a big ol' slap. The kid looks back, annoyed, to see who the wise guy was. Then he realizes it's his buddy Bjorn, the cool old guy. Bjorn comments that he's looking much better now, like a real warrior, and immediately asks if the Valkyrie taking care of him is pretty. Since the boy doesn't answer, Bjorn grabs him and starts dragging him along, saying all Valkyries are beauties. He tells the MC to go find his legion, because today's battle will have a new commander. Speaking of commanders, the MC comes face to face with the guy. The superior immediately asks if he's the warrior from Idun. The MC confirms, and the commander tells him to get to the back of the line, since he's alone. With the MC at the very back, the commander shouts that he'll skip the introductions. His name is Ragnar from the Legion of Tur. Today, he will be the commander, and the objective is simple, to reclaim lost territory. And so they head straight for the battlefield. Forward, warriors of Valhalla, for Asgard in the 9 realms. He announces that he will always lead the vanguard, so everyone must stay behind him. The crowd agrees, after all it's the great Ragnar. Our MC is just in the back listening, because he can't really see anything. Arriving at the battlefield, we see that the fight over there is nasty. Finally, one of the soldiers announces that reinforcements have arrived. There's just one tiny detail nobody was expecting. On top of the mountain, there's a giant beast holding an even bigger axe. The million-dollar question is, what the heck is that thing? The monster jumps down and immediately starts smashing everyone in its path. This one's a boss, White Fang. Immediately, the surviving warriors surround the creature. They realize that must be the enemy leader. The worst part is, how are they going to defeat this monster? While crushing the crowd, White Fang notices a portal opening behind it. Out of this portal comes Ragnar with the reinforcements, super pumped up. There's just one detail he wasn't counting on. Coming face to face with a monstrous creature like this as soon as he arrives. White Fang swings its axe, knocking everyone down. Last one out of the portal is our MC. I'd say the kid is calm, but really you just can't see properly. The goddess healed his back and neck pain, but his darn nearsightedness is still going strong. Seeing his opponent, White Fang lets out a terrifying roar. Poor MC can only think about which unlucky fool opened a portal right there. But there's no way around it, right? It's duel time. We've got White Fang versus our Tahoe. The MC thinks he needs to calm down and treat this like a boss raid in a game. First of all, there's that giant axe. For sure, if he takes a hit from that, it's game over. That being the case, there's no point in trying to block with that tiny shield. So the boy just tosses the shield aside. In this case, he decides to use all 5 runes he has. The kid puts all his points into agility. Now he can face that axe. You can even see the impact of the weapon coming towards him. Seeing its trajectory, the MC successfully dodges. Who can't dodge is the rest of the army. The guys get hit by the axe and go flying. The warriors are baffled as to how the MC managed to dodge. Taeho knows that just dodging won't cut it. Maybe he should try attacking the creature's leg. Well, one of the soldiers yells the same thing the MC was thinking. He tells everyone to focus on the legs. Seeing the pathetic results, the MC concludes it's better to switch targets. The leg didn't work out so well. Now, aiming for the MC again, White Fang attacks with everything it's got. Taeho, on the other hand, can only think of one method: the Storm Rush. With this saga, the boy manages an incredible leap into the air. While he's up there, the creature is lost, not knowing where he went. A random narrator says that, in this moment, Taeho thought, "I have to survive on this battlefield. I want to see Heda again." Then, he remembered the advice she gave him. For the saga to evolve, it's all up to him. That's when Taeho tells the narrator to shut up and let him tell the story. The kid thinks that the warrior's Roosh saga is just a speed boost, at least for now. However, if he can develop it into a vertical jump, maybe he can launch himself downwards at super high speed. The kid literally kicks the air to get a boost. To everyone's surprise, the attempt works, and he heads straight for the creature's head. Luckily, the blow is a direct hit, but the MC doesn't stop and ends up crashing hard onto the ground. Screaming in pain, White Fang starts thrashing around. The boy gets up, knowing he only survived because of the blessing. But finally, there's the opportunity he needed. It's now or never. First, he needs a weapon, so he starts invoking another saga. He activates the warrior's sword and jumps towards the creature, taking care of its throat once and for all. From a distance, we see a Valkyrie watching the battle. A crow that was flying overhead lands near her. The Valkyrie comments that they are winning the battle, seeing that she's no longer alone. She turns and says, "Valkyrie Razgard greets Odin." The crow replies that it's not Odin, but Hugin. For those who don't know, Odin has 2 ravens that travel the world, Hugin and Munin. Yep, this channel is educational too. Odin, through the crow, asks the Valkyrie if anyone stood out, but since she remains silent, he starts shouting, asking if really no one stood out. After all, they're just low-class warriors. However, the Valkyrie says that, actually there is one person. An impressive individual has emerged. On the battlefield, everyone celebrates the victory. After the leader was defeated, the rest of the enemy army retreated. Our boy is still a bit dazed, but victorious. The kid remembers this feeling well. This huge celebration is very familiar to him. It reminds him a lot of when he'd win a tournament and everyone would chant his name. By the way, that sword that appeared is the Rune Fang. In the game, it was once one of the most powerful swords, but later became a common low-level item, which probably reflects the MC's current power. But for sure, the kid wants to keep hearing these celebrations. He wants to become stronger and stronger. Lee Tae-ho, the god of war, the man who will become the best in Valhalla. This scene would be an epic ending, right? But then Bjorn shows up again, slapping the MC on the back and congratulating him on a job well done. Bjorn says the kid got much better at handling sagas. The nerd replies it was thanks to him and Heda. Bjorn is thankful, but says creating a sword out of thin air was quite a show. The MC admits it was the first time he did that, so it was a surprise to him too. The funny thing is he can summon and dismiss it whenever he wants. Bjorn, straining a bit to get up, says it's time for them to move. The MC asks if they're going back already, but Bjorn replies, "Go back. Our goal is to conquer that fortress down there. Until that happens, they'll stay put and use this spot to rest." The MC can't believe they're going to sleep there, on the ground. Well, apparently so, because the allied camp has already been set up. Our boy already has his tent, but it's not the same as being at home, safe and sound. Throwing himself onto the bed, the kid thinks that today was a very long day. Now, lying down and relaxed, he starts thinking about how strong he's become. Just to satisfy his curiosity, he summons the words of the saga, which for the MC appear as the system screen. The kid notices that the synchronization rate has reached 5%, and he's gained an extra saga slot, which means he can now use 2 at the same time. Breaking his moment of reflection, a warrior calls out to him. The same warrior, smiling weirdly, says he has a visitor. The funny thing is, it's not just him, everyone around has the same look on their face. The kid doesn't understand why everyone is looking at him with this "way to go champ" face. But when he looks at the entrance of the tent, he understands exactly why. Look who came to visit. In a camp full of grown men, this definitely caught everyone's attention. Anyway, our beloved Valkyrie came to pay the boy a visit. In the next scene, she's already inside the tent, apologizing profusely. But to understand why, let's go back 5 minutes. Still inside the tent, she had asked Taeho to show her all his life's achievements. The MC asks if you can really show that to others, and Heda confirms that yes, he just has to want to. That's when the MC pulls up a gigantic, almost infinite list of achievements. The little Valkyrie is shocked by the number of feats. That's why, in the present, she's apologizing, saying she had no idea the MC was so superior and that she acted arrogantly. But the MC asks her to calm down. Actually, even a panic, she's pretty cute. But he'd better stop thinking about that and find a way to explain the situation. He tells the Valkyrie that's not quite it, that actually all of that came from a game. Of course, she doesn't understand what a game is He explains that all his achievements came from a virtual world made of zeros and ones. The girl says she kinda gets it. Even so, the truth is that he achieved all of that, right? It's like a sport, and either way, it's amazing. The MC thinks about this sport idea. Well, he did manage to dodge the mandatory military draft with it. So, you could say it's almost a sport, yeah. Heda continues her explanation about sagas, saying there's no limit, he can have as many as he wants. But, at his current level, once he creates a saga, it takes a while before he can create another. So it's better to think carefully so he doesn't create something useless. The MC thinks about the sagas he already has. To sum up, Mortal Warrior is the sync with Costed, Warrior's Rush is a speed boost, and Warrior's Sword is the creation of Costed's weapon. At this moment, he realizes he needs an attack skill. Thinking about it, he tries to create another saga, Dragon's Eyes that see through everything. The one who finds this whole scene bizarre is Heda, who's just watching the MC make a bunch of funny faces. Seeing that the boy is finished, she asks if he succeeded, and he confirms. The saga even improved his nearsightedness. This is the ability to see through things, like analyzing a target in a game. He wanted an attack skill, but this has nothing offensive about it. At least it cured the kid's vision and allows him to know others in detail. But sometimes the ability shows a little too much detail. Seeing, or rather, revealing. Seeing the kid's head nearly explodes. After a little while, Heda asks if he's okay, because it looked like his head was about to explode. The MC says he's fine. He almost kicked the bucket, but he's okay. Heda then says it's time for her to go. Anyway, now she knows how amazing the boy is and the potential he has. So she jumps up, giving Taeho a tight hug, saying he's her good luck charm, and that she's so happy he joined the Legion of Idun. Easy buddy, easy. Don't freak out, play it cool. Yeah, never mind. He already freaked out. Right after Heda leaves the tent, we see a man approaching. A warrior in green armor enters, asking if the warrior Taeho is here. The MC confirms. The green guy introduces himself as Rolf from the Legion of Oller. What's with that weird getup? Anyway, he's a warrior from Ciri's unit, which is joining Ragnar's unit. Since the two units are merging, he came to get him personally. Activating his new skill, the MC analyzes the man. His name is indeed Rolf, but he's also known as the Wolf Hunter. But again, the skill showed way too much. The MC desperately tries to turn off this X-ray mode. After a while, the two of them are walking. Rolf says he's jealous of the MC for getting a visit from a Valkyrie. He envies him, but he also admires him. If a Valkyrie visited him, he'd brag about it forever. But who's to say the MC won't do the same? Taeho realizes that getting a visit from a Valkyrie is basically like getting a visit from a celebrity. By the way, the MC asks Rolf what blessing he received from the Legion of Oller. Greeny replies that it's stealth and tracking. You can choose one, but you end up learning both over time. He immediately chose stealth, which works like perfect camouflage. The MC admits it's pretty cool. Rolf explains that tracking is the ability to pursue an enemy, being able to find a target with the slightest trace. Anyway, they've arrived at their destination. Rolf reports to his commander, saying he's brought the warrior Lee Taeho. The MC is in shock as soon as he sees the commander. Actually, it's TA Commander. If it's a woman, the MC's shock isn't because she's a woman, but because she's the first female warrior he's seen there besides the Valkyries. Apparently, there aren't many in Valhalla. Anyway, he introduces himself as Lee Taeho. The commander stands up, asking if he's the warrior who defeated the giant today, and says it's a pleasure to meet him. Man, but the MC is worried about something else. The woman's aura is way too intense and sinister, seeming bigger than any other warrior he's ever seen. So, he immediately snaps to attention. It's not a good idea to mess with this woman. The commander announces that the commander-in-chief will arrive shortly and that he should wait there. The MC takes the opportunity to analyze her and discovers her name is Ciri from the Legion of Oller, and her nickname is Human Hunter. Super charming, right? Suddenly, a bright light shines from the sky, catching everyone's attention. They realize a Valkyrie is descending from there. We see that's the beautiful and imposing race grid. Even with his limited knowledge of mythology, the MC recognizes the warrior. Funny thing is, he also sees that her nickname is Ice Princess. He doesn't understand why, but it was probably a nickname given by the warriors. Razgrid introduces herself to everyone as a member of Odin's Legion, in charge of this battlefield. She informs them that with Ragnar's casualty, his unit has been integrated into Ciri's unit. Turning to the female warrior, she says she's counting on her. Ciri replies that she will honor her duty. Hearing these words, Razgrid pulls out some kind of magic scroll. Then, she says, I have witnessed your remarkable efforts. For those who have made great contributions, rewards will be given. Warrior Lee Taeho, you single-handedly defeated the enemy unit's leader. As a reward, you will receive a bag of gold coins, a rune, and 10 contribution points for your legion. The MC is overjoyed but holds it in so as not to show it in front of the commander and the Valkyrie. It seems he's starting to get famous. The worst part is his fame isn't so much for defeating the giant, but for being the guy who got a visit from the Valkyrie. Just look at the fan can club he got just because of that. The kid realizes that a visit from a Valkyrie is more important than defeating a boss. Razgrid tells everyone to shut up and announces that the conquest of the fortress will begin tomorrow afternoon. Specifically, they will use the Rain of Steel, and all warriors present will embark. Instantly, the warriors start cheering, "Yeah, Rain of Steel, woohoo!" But our MC, well, he has no idea what this Rain of Steel thing is. So he asks Rolf, "Hey, little bro, what's this Rain of Steel business?" Rolf, who was cheering along, replies that he doesn't know either. In the next scene, a day has passed. Now, Razgrid gives the order for the attack to begin. The combat between the warriors and the enemies starts. The guys are even using siege towers. The one who's not happy about this at all is the enemy general. This is another boss, Bloody Gaze. The enemy commander watches the battle from afar. And, well, let's just say they're managing to hold off the offensive pretty well. Siri explains that once the siege begins, they'll have the advantage, as the enemy's focus will be on the main force at the front line. Meanwhile, their unit will scale the wall and open the fortress gate from the inside. To do that, they need to reach the magic rune control room. Rolf asks if they're going to scale the wall using the Rain of Steel, but the MC knows he's just playing dumb. Anyway, what is this Rain of Steel? Maybe a teleportation spell. Well, time passes and the MC realizes that no, it's not teleportation. In fact, it's something very similar to the Goblin Barrel from Clash Royale. The squad will be shot out of a giant cannon and will land inside the enemy base. Rolf asks if the MC is excited, but the boy replies that no, not at all. There's even some crazy guy on the side yelling, "Valhalla, here I come." But he's kinda already in Valhalla, isn't he? The horn is blown, given the order to fire. The barrel's hatch closes and the MC starts praying to Idun. He even tries to ask Heda for help, but unfortunately it's too late. There goes the barrel of warriors. Let's just say the ride is a bit turbulent and very bumpy. But there's a crazy person for everything, right? Some people even enjoy it. The barrels fly over the allied army. They cross the wall, and finally they arrive at the enemy base. Clearly, no one arrives in good shape. The barrel not only shakes in the air but also has the impact of the fall, so everyone comes out a bit dizzy. Commander Siri orders everyone to get ready because the battle is about to begin. The enemies are already coming. This time, they're a little different, they're giant insects. The problem is that there aren't just a few. There must be about 100 of them charging forward. Siri then explains that the giant insects move in groups of 5. If you take out the leader, the others get completely lost. Rolf comments that unfortunately, they all look the same, so they'll have to rely on pure luck. Turns out, lucky for everyone, our formerly nearsighted guy now has a special power. He can clearly see a different, highlighted name instead of giant insect. One of them is the tough giant insect. Taeho then shouts to the commander, telling her he can see the difference, because he has a saga for it. As soon as she hears the news, Siri runs towards him, getting right up in the MC's face, making the vibe a little weird. Super close. She tells the boy to just point with his finger and she'll shoot. She also gives an order for the entire squad to attack the targets she aims at. Taeho points and she immediately starts firing her arrows. Right after, he points to another target, and another. The army doesn't fall behind either, following her lead. When Taeho points and Siri doesn't have time to shoot, the rest of the army is the one to handle the creature. A little while later, they finally dealt with the threat. All the leaders were successfully eliminated. Now, the remaining creatures are just walking in circles, looking like dizzy roaches. Without a leader, they just start to retreat. But this isn't the end of the brawl just yet, because now it's the Gunnan's army's turn to charge in with everything they've got. Siri thinks the situation has gotten really complicated, since more enemies are coming. She tells Rolf she's going to mobilize a separate squad, and while the rest hold off the enemy force, Greenie needs to find the control room. Rolf replies that he understands the mission. Along with him, she orders him to take the warrior Taeho. She tells the MC that she's counting on him, the warrior from Idun. Our boy confirms he gets it and won't let her down. And so, the special squad is mobilized for the mission. Rolf puts a hand on the MC's shoulder, telling him to stick close. He's able to use his blessing from Olor on his companions and activate stealth for the whole group. This way, they can easily make it to the wall. Getting closer to the wall, Rolf says he has the map memorized and that there's a hidden door around there. As soon as he presses a specific stone, a sort of trapdoor opens in the ground. That's a temporary passage straight to the control room. Going down the stairs, the team is already walking through the dark corridors. The one who's all clumsy as always is our MC. He keeps running into spider webs. It seems like it's been a long time since anyone used this place. Even so, the team keeps moving forward. They just don't notice that they have company too, as they walk silently. Rolf warns everyone to be careful. Unfortunately, it's already too late. Sure enough, the first one has already been taken. Let's call him Redshirt Soldier number 1. Rolf identifies the creature as a wolf spider. Indeed, it's pretty big, but it doesn't usually attack by surprise like this. This little rascal must have been starving for a long time. It's curtains for Redshirt Soldier. Activating a special vision, the MC warns Rolf to be careful, because there's another one coming. Not one, actually, there are hundreds of them. Taeho tries to stay calm so he doesn't freak out. Calming himself, he analyzes and sees that the spider's specialty is paralyzing venom, but its weakness is fire. And so he activates his saga, the warrior's sword. Rolf is surprised to see a sword appear out of nowhere in his hand. The MC, however, doesn't even stop to explain and just throws the sword towards the spiders. The sword gets stuck in the ceiling. Meanwhile, he shouts, activating his rune. Apparently, it's a fire rune because the sword starts to catch fire. Actually, the sword not only catches fire but also explodes, and the MC yells for everyone to run while they can. Rolf asks if the MC is some kind of mage, but he replies that he just knows a few little tricks. From then on, it's just a mad dash. They try to escape the other spiders while looking for the room. After a lot of running, they finally find the door. They'll probably be safe behind it. The MC and Rolf manage to get through. The chubby warrior also squeezes through, and the spider that was behind him this whole time also gets through. They don't get it. How did the spider get in? And why does it look relieved, as if it were also running from the others? Well, the MC tells the two of them to close the door quickly, while he deals with this stray spider. Thank Odin, they managed to close the darn door. And the MC, believe it or not, took care of the spider all by himself. Now, finally, they can breathe a little easier. Taeho, curious, starts looking around the room. He asks if this is the so-called control room. Approaching the panel, Rolf confirms that yes, it's the emergency control room. The MC reflects that it's no surprise the path was so difficult, since the place is super hidden and there's no one guarding it. Taking a brooch out of his pocket, Rolf says that either way, he'll take care of this quickly. He places the object on the table and says they need to open the gate as soon as possible to avoid more casualties. The fortress system then announces that the emergency key has been confirmed. And from the panel, the image of a woman appears. This woman welcomes them and introduces herself as the Black Fortress. The chubby warrior and Rolf are just standing there impressed, admiring the beauty of the artificial intelligence. But the MC reminds them they're in a hurry. Quickly, Rolf snaps back to reality and tells her to open the main gate. The Black Fortress says she understands. But then she ends up opening the wrong gate. Rolf starts screaming, desperate, saying no, it's the Fartarius gate. But it was too late, nothing to be done. A bunch of spiders got in again, and they had to deal with them. Rolf was about to say the mission was accomplished, and they just needed to hold their position, but the Black Fortress warns that an enemy is approaching very quickly. They'd better prepare for combat. Taeho tries to understand how the unlucky guy got through that super thick iron door. Rolf comments that the hallway was still full of spiders. Looking back, they notice that all the spiders have already been eliminated. Yep, there's no other way. That can only be him, the enemy leader, Bloody Gaze. The monster arrives shouting, calling the three of them rats of Valhalla. He promises he's going to tear them all to tiny little pieces. The MC summons his sword, knowing he doesn't have much of a choice, and even thinks that maybe he won't be going home this time. With no choice, the three of them charge forward. The boss readies his axe. The first one to be hit is our chubbier warrior. He ends up taking the blow and goes flying to the other side of the wall. The creature then tries to figure out, where's the short one? Little does he know that our MC already has the knack for taking out a boss. The kid charges full speed into his attack, but now with more experience. Turns out this boss is a little different. He simply drops his weapon and goes to meet the MC for a one-on-one. The boy realizes he's gotten himself into a very tricky situation. Too late, the creature has already jumped and grabbed him in mid-air, smashing the boy into the ground with everything it's got. A move known as the Tombstone Piledriver, or for those in the know, a one-way ticket. Rolf worried shouts for the MC. We know he's gonna survive. He'll feel a terrible pain, but he'll survive. Thank heavens, he has the goddess's blessing. Stretched out on the ground, the boy thinks, what is this? This strange warm sensation going through his body. Is this what it feels like to be sent packing? No, actually it's not. It's just the big wolf wanting to come stomp on him. Rolf shouts that he won't let him. He activates his saga, the flaming shot. The arrow hits the big wolf square in the face. Rolf tells everyone to group up, both Taeho and the other soldier, Renchard B. After putting out the fire on its face, the creature starts to stare down Rolf. At this moment, Bloody Gaze hesitates. He was torn on who he should finish off first. The annoying archer or that kid he'd already smashed. Taeho noticed his hesitation right away and continued to play defeated. This made the big guy even more hesitant, but to heck with it, it's going to be the archer first. Seeing that there's not much of a way out, Rolf says he's going to try something different. Meanwhile, the MC is watching everything. As much as that hurts like crazy, he's not out of the fight yet. The boy activates his skill again and charges at the monster. With his sword in hand, he lands a cut right between the giant's legs. Let's just say he landed a direct hit on the family jewels, something no man would ever want to lose. The poor big wolf starts to cry in pain. He even throws himself on the ground, seeing that he's lost something very precious. Redshirt Soldier B and Rolf can even feel the guy's pain from a distance. Rolf tells the MC that was kind of, no, never mind, it's better to put the poor guy out of his misery. The MC stops in front of the creature and says that, since he's a man too, he's very sorry. Then he summons his warrior's sword saga. But this time, the weapon came out a little differently. He summons the Skull Crusher. Well, since that's what's here, then that's what he'll use. Taeho gives the creature a whack on the head, smashing it completely. Declaring victory, they don't even shout victory for Odin. Now it's victory for Idun, long live Idun. Our boy realizes synchronization has reached 7%. What he doesn't see are the two goofballs coming to celebrate on top of him. From then on, the siege of the Black Fortress ended with the victory of Valhalla's warriors. The last boss, Frozen Main, was also defeated. A warrior appears holding his head and shouting, "For Thor." This boss fell at the hands of a warrior named Braki from the Legion of Thor. From up high, Odin is watching everything. He just finds it strange that Razgrid wasn't interested in the warrior Braki, but in the one named Lee Tae-ho. Once again, the brave warriors had won another victory. Rajanleaf tells everyone to enjoy the night, because everyone there deserves it. And you guys already know, right? It's partying and drinking all night long, except for our boy. He's more pensive off in his corner. Rolf approaches asking if the MC's body's okay. He replies that, honestly, he's in so much pain it feels like he's about to check out. Greenie laughs, saying he's lucky to be alive because the scene of him being crushed was horrifying. Another person comes near them, asking if she can join the conversation. It's Siri, saying their contribution today was very important and offering some of her drink. Totally smitten, Rolf says it would be an honor, as he's always wanted to drink with her. But then a whole bunch of people show up to ruin the moment, saying they also want to drink with the commander. Too bad they ruined the guy's night. Siri then raises her mug, saying, "Today for Valhalla." The whole group of party crashers replies, "And for the captain." Our boy stays in his corner, just watching the whole situation. Actually, he always imagined Siri was a cold and distant person. Rolf is telling the squad everything that happened in the control room, especially the part where the MC hit the boss in his private parts. Yeah, that part was definitely pretty funny. Even the captain is laughing. Tae-ho never imagined she could make such an expression. The celebration in the Citadel lasted all night long. There was even a drunk dude who went around picking a fight with another. Actually, they just bumped into each other. It was a kind of sweaty and weird scene. But you could say the party went on all night. There was even a DJ. There were even warriors busting a move. Our MC was there, not understanding a thing, just wishing it would all be over soon. The crowd was so out of it. They didn't know whether to fight, dance, or drink more. Suddenly, Razgrid calls for the warrior Lee Tae-ho. When the MC looks back, he gets a big surprise. In that instant, all the warriors sober up. The Valkyrie announces that the MC has a little visitor. Right away, everyone shouts excitedly, making the MC and Heda a little embarrassed. An editor's note at crowd cheering excitedly. "Mike, it would be cool to overlap the warriors' lines at the end of each one here to give the impression of a lot of people talking at once. Like, let's go, like, get it, champ, that's my boy." After the two leave, the guys talk about getting back to drinking, but Razgrid says no. Tomorrow, Siri's unit has a special mission, so everyone needs to get some sleep. Some time passes and finally morning comes. The guys comment, "Here he comes, the great warrior Lee Tae-ho has arrived." He even looks a little tired. And editors notice same idea of overlapping the voices here, with the warriors teasing so, "Have fun last night? A visit from a Valkyrie is a big deal, huh? What were you up to, Tae-ho?" The MC says he can't say anything because he was asked to keep it a secret, which, of course, only makes everyone think something really happened. But the MC insists that no, it's not what they're thinking. Siri approaches her battalion and tells everyone to listen up. From now on, they have a special mission to carry out. The target is located east of the Black Fortress, the Dwarf Mine. When the Gunnans captured the fortress, the dwarves sealed the mine and went into hiding. Since they reclaimed the place, they haven't had any news from them. The mission is to go there immediately and check on the dwarves' situation. The MC asks if it's those dwarves, the short, stocky ones, full of armor and who like to grumble. Rolf replies, "Is there any other kind of dwarf?" "Well, dwarves like beer. Maybe you can get a good beer there." But the MC is indignant because the dude drank all night yesterday. Rolf continues, saying that dwarves are the manliest of men, even their women have beards. Siri is just standing there, a little annoyed, because she hasn't even finished the instructions and they're already chatting. The captain warns that it's a good distance from there to the mine, so to minimize travel time. As a means of transportation, the Black Lightning has been prepared. Instantly, everyone's eyes go wide, Black Lightning. Even Rolf is surprised, but then he remembers that actually he has no idea what that is. In a flashback scene, we see what happened to the MC last night. Heda asked the boy to keep her visit a secret. That's when she starts to take something out, saying she's going to give it to the MC, but, of course, it's not what we're thinking. She pulls out a golden apple-shaped necklace. Wearing it will increase the boy's recovery speed. And there's also this little pouch. Inside, there are fragments of the golden apple, with excellent effects for healing wounds, detoxifying, removing curses, and even giving you a beauty treatment. And lastly, a little kiss on the forehead to wish him Idun's blessing. Back in the present, the boy is completely buried. And you're thinking, whoa, dwarf cemetery. Nope, guys. This is the so-called Reign of Steel. Pro tip, whenever they talk about crane or lightning, you can bet they're going to be launched by some iron contraption. The MC is there digging himself out. He barely made it out of that one alive. The boy wasn't expecting anything normal, but being launched inside a coffin is just too much. Looking at the rest of the squad and seeing everyone buried, the MC wonders if they survived. Thanks to that necklace, he's the only one without a single injury. A few minutes later, we see the whole troop already gathered. Siri finds it strange that the mine's gate is open and even wonders if they were deceived. Since there's no other option, all that's left is to go in. Inside, the guys comment that it's very dark, but that's to be expected since dwarves don't like sunlight. One warrior comments that he heard dwarves turn to stone when they touch light. Another says they suck blood, but is quickly corrected. "You're confusing them with vampires, you idiot." Ciri calls out for the dwarves, introducing themselves as the warriors of Valhalla sent by the Valkyrie Raskard. The MC, who is no fool, immediately starts using his ability to scan the area. In doing so, he finds something very abnormal. He shouts for Ciri, warning her that there are many red names everywhere. Ciri wastes no time and orders everyone to form a shield wall. The order came just in time. A massive rain of arrows falls upon them. The warrior who is dancing almost took one right in the face. The soldiers comment that they need to hold strong, it hurts, but without the shield, it would be much worse. The last arrow is shot, and it misses like all the others. Ciri asks Taeho if he can identify the enemy through the gap in the shields. The MC tries to look, and yes, he can identify them. He says that those are the dwarves, but they're zombie dwarves. The crowd is in shock. What do you mean, zombie dwarves? The MC confirms that's what he's seeing, and that it can only mean one thing. All the dwarves have been taken out. Rolf asks if he's sure, and Taeho says yes. It's dark, but he can see everything. There's a choreographer zombie dwarf, a rap god zombie dwarf, and even a lead singer zombie dwarf. Yeah, pretty weird. Seeing that the dwarves are reloading their arrows, Ciri tells everyone to ready their shields again, but a soldier warns that it won't work. The shields are in terrible condition. This time, they won't be able to block properly, and there will be many casualties. Ciri then thinks they're in a really bad spot. That's when out of nowhere, someone comes running towards them. A little dwarf calls out to them, and then immediately throws a Molotov cocktail. Does he want to help or finish everyone off? Well, at least he gives them a tip to close their eyes. Suddenly a blast of light happens. While all the creatures are blinded by the explosion, the squad runs towards the dwarf. The little dwarf tells everyone to hurry up and get into a hole in the wall, but then Rolf gets stuck. Greenie even asks if there's another way. The dwarf replies that there is no other way and that he will get through there. Art editors noted Mike, if you can make the camera shake here for extra comedy, that would be awesome. After a while, the last one to come down is the MC. Ciri and Rolf show Taeho the way. When the boy takes a good look, the scene is magnificent crystals everywhere and, in the background, the fortress of the dwarves. Once inside, the little guy explains that this is all the work of a vampire. He appeared the night before and made this whole mess. If you're defeated or bitten by him, you turn into a zombie because of a curse. The approximately 20 dwarves there are the only survivors. Ciri asks if this vampire has any distinguishing features. The little one says he's very large, has a grayish body, is bald, and has eyes as black as an abyss, plus he fights hand to hand. Ciri asks Isaac, the dwarf, if he plans to seek revenge and suggests they leave it for later. They should regroup and come back with reinforcements. Isaac says no, this needs to be done now, as it's something more important than revenge. Recently in that mine, a vein of orichalcum was discovered. As soon as they hear that, everyone goes crazy. Rolf even asks if they really found orichalcum, but the MC is sure he doesn't even know what that is. In fact, most of them probably don't know, but everyone pretends to be surprised. Already walking to get the orichalcum, a warrior comments that if it's such an important item, they should get it immediately. Rolf, who until now didn't know what it was, finally asks, what the heck is orichalcum? They explain that orichalcum is the metal of the gods, the strongest material in the world, which also amplifies the power of runes. Even Mjolnir was made with it. They can't let a weapon with this material fall into enemy hands. They need to resolve this as quickly as possible. That's when Isaac tells everyone to stop. They finally arrived. On the top floor of the mine is the sacred anvil. That's where the orichalcum vein is, and probably the vampire too. The metal can only be refined under the light of the moon and stars. Finding this strange, the MC asks how the light will get in there, since they're underground. Isaac explains that the top floor is connected to the surface, and part of the ceiling can be opened. The boy reflects that this information is invaluable. Since it must be around noon, the vampire is surely weaker under the sunlight. Stopping their conversation, they finally open the door. Ciri orders everyone to move forward for a frontal assault, but they've arrived at a rather awkward time. The zombie crew was there, just chilling, playing Uno and poker. But no problem, if it's a war they want, it's a war they'll get. This time, it's the warriors of Valhalla against the zombie dwarves. Ciri prepares for combat. It seems the dwarves are focusing their attack directly on her. The commander, however, isn't fazed and orders the shield team to advance. These guys will be the team's tanks. Right after them come the zombie dwarves. They use some kind of rune and start summoning whirlwinds. Actually, no, they're just spinning with their own axes. Ciri says this is their chance and tells Taeho to advance with her. The archer crew stays behind for support, and of course, our man Isaac says he'll clear the way, because he just brought a cannon to the fight. Bothered by the situation, the dwarf apologizes to all his former companions. But unfortunately, war is war. A little while later, Isaac announces that behind that door is the sacred anvil. We see that he didn't go alone, it was him, plus a few dwarves, the MC, Ciri, Rolf, and about 3 other warriors. As the steel door opens, they can already see the anvil. On top of it, they finally see the orichalcum. But where's the vampire? The MC shouts, pointing at the unlucky guy. The jerk is on the ceiling. Immediately, Rolf and 2 other archers ready their arrows. The MC, however, notices that, compared to a giant Gunam, the vampire's size is smaller, but a sinister energy emanates from him. This is another boss, Stragos. The 2 archers ready their arrows. But before they can shoot, Stragos has already clawed both of them. In the end, who does it always fall to? Our MC, right? He's always the first target. Stragos gets in his ear and whispers, "Don't scream. How did you get here? This treasure belongs to me." Stragos warns him not to move unless he wants to have his head torn off. And that goes for the rest of the team too. The captain asks Rolf and his guys if they're okay, but he says that despite the cut, he'll be fine. But from now on, it's going to be a little harder to shoot with the bow. It seems the vampire spared them on purpose. Stragos confirms, saying it would be a waste to just eliminate such capable warriors. He intends to turn everyone into his powerful zombie warriors. The MC thinks, "No way, I'd rather bite the dust than become a zombie lackey." That's when an arrow flies towards Stragos, but the jerk catches it in the air with his hand. He asks if they really think they're capable of resisting. We see that the one who shot was Ciri. Isaac thinks it's better to go down as a warrior than to become that bastard's little dog. The little guy says this as he starts blasting the creature with his cannon. The funny thing is, you can't tell if it's a cannon or a flamethrower. Stragos scoffs, saying it's pathetic. These tricks are useless. He charges at the dwarf, but Ciri orders the squad to protect him with their shields. Too bad that didn't do much good. Stragos punched the ground and everyone went flying. The dwarves try to attack as a trio, doing their famous whirlwinds with their axes. But Stragos warns that it just tickles. I mean, it does push him back a bit, but as for actual damage, it does none. The MC, who took the opportunity to get to the back, is telling the team to hang on for just a little longer. And that's all he needs. The sly dog pulls a lever down, and it's precisely the lever that opens the ceiling. Now we're talking, man. There's no way out. This creature is going down one way or another. With the sunlight, Stragos starts to completely disintegrate. The MC, who is no fool, even breaks the lever. If the creature tries to close the ceiling again, now there's no way. Finally, the monster kneels, completely toasted. The team just wonders what they should do now. Rolf asks the MC if, by any chance, he knows how to finish off a vampire. The MC says he's not sure, but maybe a stake through the heart would work. Or who knows, wait for him to disintegrate on his own. But that's when the boy notices something. The jerk is reciting something under his breath. Oh man, he's conjuring a storm cloud. The whole team shouts, telling them to finish him off now, any way they can. But Stragos is smart. He moves out of the line of attack, transforming into several bats. Right after, all these bats transform into a single giant creature. This is Stragos' second form. Stragos warns that this time he'll fight more cautiously. He's gonna make quick attacks and won't let anyone get close. Noticing something strange, the MC shouts that he's throwing something. Indeed, the creature launches an acid blast. The boy tells everyone to run, but one of the warriors just stands there. Yeah, my friend, just as he stood still, he was taken out. Who knows what he was thinking? The creature fires nonstop, and the guys run for their lives. Stragos scoffs, "Heroes, how long do you think you're gonna keep running?" The MC comments that the situation is getting difficult, with the floor all covered in acid. Rolf agrees, saying they're already running out of places to run. Preparing his power, the MC thinks that he can't let things end like this. So, there he goes, charging at the creature. Stragos even finds it stranger. He's coming straight at me. It really seems like a dumb move, because now he has a clean shot. But since the last battle, let's just say the MC got the hang of moving through the air. Stragos is lost, not seeing where the kid went. Like, he was right here in front of him just a second ago. Already on his back, the MC shouts and gives him a sword strike, but the blade breaks. Yeah, the boy didn't see that one coming. Stragos says it's a shame, but that kind of sword can't pierce his skin. The MC is lost, like, what's going on? Out of nowhere, he's ended up stuck on the monster's back. Stragos asks what he thinks he's doing, but the MC says that, I don't know, on impulse. He just ended up here. The monster tells him to get down, but the MC says he can't. How is he supposed to get down from that height? Stragos says that's not his problem, but taking a deep breath, he says, alright, let's do it this way then. He'll go down to the ground and from there they can start fighting again. Our boy agrees, super understanding. Of course, in reality, Stragos has another idea. He's gonna smash the boy into the ground. The MC gets scared and asks the monster to wait. Stragos asks what it is now. Tejo doesn't understand. Out of nowhere, something starts to glow in his chest. It can't be that, in a situation like this, he's gonna get a new saga. Stragos asks what the heck he's doing. Can you stop this nonsense? The MC tells him to be quiet because he's trying to concentrate on the saga. Stragos is indignant. Are you going crazy? But that's when the MC says he finally got it. The boy gained the ability of Dragon Knight Costed, the pinnacle of riding winged creatures, from griffins and wyverns to dragons. They were all mounts for Costed. Because of this, the MC gained the saga, He Who Commands Dragons. Stragos even took on a cuter, more docile form. The MC says, alright, sweetie, now you go down to the ground very slowly. The people down below are just wondering what on earth is happening. Our boy gets to the ground saying, that's it, good boy. A little awkwardly, Rolf asks what they're going to do now. while everyone went over to pet Stragos. The captain is a little pensive about what to do, but, looking at that cute little face, she kind of can't resist. Very slowly, she brings her hand closer, until she can't get any more and ends up petting the creature too. But wait, it seems he's not completely tamed. Stragos is trying to resist the MC's control. The vampire shouts, "How dare insignificant creatures mock the great Stragos? Ugh. This I will never forgive. I will chew you up one by one." The guys realize things have gone very wrong. The control has been broken. It seems the MC can't maintain control forever, at least not yet. In that case, the guys suggest he mounts him again. With Stragos calm again, the MC says they're going to team up to cause as much damage as possible. Rolf confirms, saying they'll count on the MC. The boy takes off at full speed with his new mount, telling the vampire to go as high as he can. Stragos flies out of the mine and heads towards the sun. The vampire, even in great pain, can't disobey and starts to burn, but the MC orders him to descend at high speed towards the ground. Unable to refuse, Stragos obeys and ends up face planting on the ground. The MC doesn't stop there. He activates his other saga, the Warrior's Sword, but again he's going to use the Skull Crusher. This blow was to make sure the vampire wouldn't survive, but the MC is furious. Guess why? The jerk still survived. That's when someone shouts, telling the MC to get out of the way. Here comes Isaac throwing Molotovs everywhere. The boy tries to run. Unfortunately, the explosion catches up to him and ends up sending the boy flying. Unable to stop, our boy face plants on the ground again. Out of nowhere, Rolf appears, telling the dwarf to add more fuel to the fire. Right after, he asks Taeho if the creature is still alive. Seeing the name Stragos Grey fading, the MC says no. A little while later, they go to the center of the forge. With Stragos defeated, the day finally returns to normal. Now, they can get the orichalcum. I thought the orichalcum was the whole box, but actually, it's inside it. When the little guy finally gets the material, we see that it's very tiny. The guys are indignant for having gone through all that trouble for something so small. The dwarf says they don't know what they're talking about. That's enough to make a ring. The MC comments that he had said it was material from Mjolnir, but never mind. The little guy puts the orichalcum back in the box and says he'll leave the honor of forging it to the artisans of Valhalla. As they can see, the dwarves don't have the time or ability to protect and forge the metal now. Ciri says she understands and that she'll respect the old man's decision, ensuring the material's delivery. Rolf asks if, now that everything's settled, they can drink. The dwarf says that for sure it'll be a barrel for each of them. Instantly, the men get super excited, but the captain kills the mood and says no. They have to leave immediately. Isaac says that if that's the case, there's nothing to be done, but he can't let his allies leave empty-handed. So he tells everyone to follow him. That's when they go to a very special place, reserved for special people, if you know what I mean. That is the legendary armory of the dwarves, receiving the heavy weaponry forged by them. The troop goes wild. Isaac asks what Taeho is waiting for. Hurry up, go get something. The MC says that of course he's going, but he's no fool and immediately activates his ability to examine the items. And indeed, what he thought would happen happens. There's a rarity ranking system. Looking around, he finds the perfect item for him. Unfortunately, it's not revealed what it was. The guys are already outside. Isaac thanks everyone from the bottom of his heart, especially for avenging his brothers. Lastly, he tells Taeho that he really has an excellent eye for equipment. That is the Falcon Wing suit. Using his power, the MC saw that it was the only blue rarity item in the armory. He feels that it's very light and durable, and asks if it has any special abilities. Isaac says yes, he needs to recite an enchantment to use it. When things get really bad, he can return to base almost immediately. That's when we see the ability the MC gained. He became a parakeet. No, just kidding, it was something more manly. Let's just say he became an imposing falcon. The best part is that he no longer has to return to base by being thrown inside a coffin. For sure, that's the biggest advantage. Back at the Black Fortress, the guys are reporting that there was a vampire named Stragos in the mine and that he had taken over everything. They teamed up with the dwarves to defeat him and protect the orichalcum. Razgrid admits they accomplished something incredible and that the fallen warriors will be reborn as proud steel warriors. But she comments that the piece of orichalcum is very small, while she'll take care of the remains of those who passed. As for the three of them, they can leave and rest. Rolf calls out, "Hey Taeho, how about a drink today?" But the MC refuses, saying he's too tired. Ciri tells the warrior from Idun that he did a good job in that. For sure, he contributed the most. But the MC says no, that without everyone's help, he would have done almost nothing. After a compliment like that, Rolf asks again if the MC wants to drink, but the boy keeps saying no. As the two walk away, the MC reflects on the situation. That vampire Stragos was really powerful, but thanks to defeating that monster, he managed to gain a lot of runes. His synchronization rate is now at 9%. Just one more point to go. What will he get when he reaches 10%? Leaving the MC aside for a bit, we see Ragnarok on a reconnaissance mission. The Valkyrie reflects that she's gone too far, and that maybe it's better to go back. That's when she hears something strange. Let's just say it's footsteps, but footsteps strong enough to cause tremors. And that's exactly what Ragnarok is feeling, something very unusual. Should she get closer to identify what it is? Or is it better to return? Well, she activates her cloak and decides to return. Getting closer would be too dangerous. It's better to go back and report what she saw. In the next scene, Razgrid is already indignant that an enemy army is already invading. Actually, Rajaleaf got there so fast that she didn't even realize she was already making her report. Razgrid comments that, at this speed, the battle should start tomorrow at noon, at the latest, and that she'll need to call for reinforcements. At night, Ciri comments that they have a big problem to solve. Since the problem can only be solved tomorrow, everyone should go to bed early. And of course, no drinking tonight. Looking around, she tries to find Taeho. Where did that kid go? The MC actually distanced himself from everyone on purpose. He wants to make good use of that new item and be able to use it correctly in any situation. For example, in tomorrow's battle, so it's better for him to practice a lot tonight. The next morning, the Valkyries meet. This is the Valkyrie Ingrid from the Legion of Ninjord. She says she brought 500 low-level warriors and asks if the enemies have been identified yet. Rajaleaf says not exactly, but there are at least 6,000. Razgrid calculates that if they combine all their forces, they'll have about 2,500 warriors. Rajaleaf says they have no choice but to fight as they are, and that, in case of an emergency, she'll activate the defensive barrier. Razgrid agrees, and they prepare to fight for Asgard and the Nine Realms. At the moment of the battle, we see the enemy army approaching. Braki, from the Legion of Thor, is the first to get motivated, shouting to his army that they will fight for Thor. Ciri also shouts, saying the Legion of Valor is ready for Asgard and the Nine Realms. The MC is there a little awkward, trying to create a long-range weapon. The worst part is that he succeeds, creating a crossbow that shoots lightning. He will fight for Heda, and of course for the goddess Idun. The army of Gunans gets closer and closer, but a rain of arrows falls upon them. The enemy army stands firm and even counterattacks. They are using climbing claws, so they can latch onto the wall and climb more easily. However, the defenders throw hot oil. The warriors shout, "Not today!" As if the boiling oil wasn't enough, from above the guys also throw rocks, preventing the Gunans from advancing. The real problem is the war mammoths. Using their weight and strength, they manage to shake the wall, allowing the Gunnan army to advance more easily. The clash is now at the top of the wall. Unfortunately, the enemy army managed to advance. Rolf is there, shooting his flaming arrow. Meanwhile, the MC is also fighting, switching his weapon to a melee one. He realizes, however, that now they have another little problem. Something is coming from the sky. The enemy army has leveled up the battle, now using mounts. The worst part is that they're not riding just anything, they're wyverns. The jerks begin their aerial attacks. Seeing that they're going to lose the battle this way, Rajaleaf begins to chant her power, raising a huge magic barrier. But she warns that the barrier's durability decreases as it's attacked, and that they need to focus on the enemies in the sky. Immediately, the MC thinks of his new cloak, and so the boy starts running, saying that he'll handle it. But to find out if he'll really be able to handle these aerial dragons, you guys already know what to do. Leave a lot of likes and comment a lot asking for the next part. Thanks so much for watching this far.